Hey guys, it's Phil here from TechSmart, and this is our review of iOS 8. Before we start, I've been using iOS 8 since Beta 1, and the entirety of this review will be showcasing the Goldmaster release. It's important to mention that iOS 8 is not an overwhelming jump from iOS 7. It's simply a more iterative update, smoothing out the kinks and bugs within iOS 7. With that being said, there's a lot of much needed features added to this version of iOS. We'll start with messages. Apple added a new voice memo feature within the Messaging app. Think of it like push to talk or a walkie-talkie. You press and hold the little microphone and begin saying your message. You can play it back or swipe up to send it instantly. It's really easy and seamless, and when somebody sends you a message, you can actually just raise your phone to your ear to listen or click play. It's cool, but I didn't find myself using the feature. It's a little more involved than text messaging, and it's less convenient than actually calling somebody over the phone. The same tap and swipe gesture applies to the camera button. Swipe up to take a picture, swipe right to take a video. It's a really quick way to share a photo with somebody, but if you're not paying attention, you can easily and accidentally send somebody a picture without realizing it. One of my favorite tweaks in iOS 8 allows you to tap the camera icon and you get a quick look into your gallery without actually leaving the messaging app. You can also send multiple photos in one message. Group messaging has always been flawed, and Apple's finally here to patch up a lot of the annoyances. You can leave group chats, add members, and even change the group chat name. And if you don't want to leave a chat but you just want to mute the notifications, you can now enable Do Not Disturb for just one chat. And you can actually apply Do Not Disturb to individual contacts, which I think is a really nice addition. Apple revamped the photo app and really added a lot of functionality to it. They brought search to photos, and it actually works pretty well. You can search for a location or a specific date and quickly filter through your photos. I found this especially helpful for finding those clutch Throwback Thursday pics. Once you found the perfect photo, iOS 8 adds a lot of new editing features right in the camera app. You have this smart composition tool which will straighten out a photo and choose the best crop. It works really well, and the new options for editing your photos can be a bit overwhelming. You start off with light, color, and black and white, but under those menus are tons of submenus that can be fine-tuned. It's probably way more than the average user needs, but it's nice to see that Apple's giving you such control. If you open the camera app, you'll see that we finally have a timer. You have intervals for 3 or 10 seconds, and it works just as it should. Swiping over all the way to the left, you'll see a time-lapse feature within the camera. I used it a little bit, but the lack of controls really doesn't let you get the most out of it. Instead of manually choosing the photo intervals, it dynamically selects it for you. It's a cool feature, but I wish you had a little bit more control over the final product. It's been requested for years, and iOS 8 now adds the ability for third-party keyboards. I think it's a great feature, while a bit outdated. It really lets users customize their phone. It works well, but at the time there's really few options for third-party keyboards. I personally don't mind the stock keyboard, so I'm fine just using that. If you're like me and you enjoy the standard iOS keyboard, you'll really like QuickType. It's like predictive text, acts like predictive text, but it's much smarter. It reads your conversation or email and gives you recommendations for answers. I'll admit it's a bit creepy, but the more you use it, it really picks up on your typing patterns. I found myself tapping on suggestions almost as much as typing out the full word. However, if you find this to be annoying, swiping down on the QuickType bar will easily hide it away. One of the more helpful features in iOS 8 is the additions within notifications. When you receive a text, you can reply without leaving the app, and it works just as advertised. This feature is brought to other apps like Twitter and the calendar. When you double tap the home button, you now have easy access to recent contacts and your favorites. It's a nice feature, and it's very subtle, so I used it without even realizing it. It can also be disabled in your settings if you're trying to hide those recent contacts. There are minor design tweaks throughout iOS 8, like new icons and changes to Control Center, but for the most part, I really haven't found anything that I don't like about iOS 8's design. As mentioned, they kept the same iOS 7 base and really just built upon it. Apple has also made some significant changes in Spotlight, and they're greatly appreciated. Instead of using search for apps and messages, you can now look for movie times, songs, and even apps that you don't have on your phone. It works just as advertised, and I found myself using Spotlight a lot more because of these additions. Until now, Apple really didn't have a place in the health market. iOS 8 hopes to change that with their health app. To be honest, I found this application to be very overwhelming and confusing. There's a lot of features in this app, and many of them are hidden under menus and options. The app doesn't really feel like a stock Apple application. The app works as a hub to collect all your data, steps, sugar intake, sleeping, and even caffeine levels. If you want to track some obscure intake, there's probably an option in here for it. However, because the app acts like a hub, a lot of the features rely on third-party applications and hardware. Want to check your heart rate? You're going to need a third-party app to do so. And once you use that app to check your heart rate, you can then go back into the health app where the data is going to be automatically synced. It's a good start for health tracking, but as of right now, I'm not convinced that this is the best Apple can do. There is hope, however. The Apple Watch adds sensors, and that should help gather health data a little bit easier, but until then, the health app really stands as a medical log relying on help from other applications. Finally, we have continuity. Now, this is debatably one of the most impressive features added in iOS 8, and it really works in conjunction with macOS X Yosemite. The feature allows you to seamlessly work between your devices, start a conversation on your iPhone, and continue it on your Mac. That's the idea. While it's really cool, it's also kind of gimmicky. I didn't find myself using handoff nearly as much as Apple probably wanted me to. However, continuity doesn't end there. The big seller is linking your iPhone to your iPad and Mac, allowing you to answer calls and messages on your iPad or Mac. Unfortunately, the feature won't be here until October, but call me crazy, when I had iOS 8 Beta 1 in the first Yosemite beta, I was able to use SMS on my Mac. But to be fair, that was a few months ago, and we're really just going to have to revisit continuity when all the features are working correctly. In its entirety, iOS 8 is, well, another perfect version of iOS. It doesn't change the game, it most definitely won't draw Android users to iOS, but it's a step in the right direction. Even if those are baby steps. You see, we've had the iPhone in iOS for over 7 years now, and in those 7 years, while a lot has changed, there's still many features missing from iOS 8. Home screen replacements, setting default applications, and a lot of great features that Android users have been loving for years. If you love Apple and you love iOS, you're gonna love iOS 8. If you've been on the fence about iOS or the platform is getting stale for you, well, Android L looks really enticing.